Nick DiMatteo, and welcome to Music is Not a Genre, the interview edition. Each week I talk about music, I break it down, I bust myths, I make connections where connections don't seem to be, and I connect music to other people's music, to my music, to other music in the world, and to other things in the world. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and clicked and shared and become a patron and donated canned goods. Appreciate all of it, as everyone does, yes. And we're going right into it this week.
Click the bell.
Yes, well, exactly. Click the bell. That's right. I'm trying to get to 100. We're almost at 100. I am so excited, this week because two of my favorite people are here. Hot Glue in the Gun, better known maybe, as Carrie Klein and Joel McGlynn. Hot Glue in the Gun is a theater rock collective specializing in craft music. They also produce the Gluey Zoomy Show. We're going to talk about all of this and more. Carrie and Joel, how are you doing?
Really great. Thank you for having us with you, Nick. This is awesome.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm so glad you said yes.
Yay.
We're on Nick DiMatteo Show. We're on Nick DiMatteo Show.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I'm going to sample that and make that my new theme song. So
You may.
So can you tell me, because I'm not sure I know this, how do we know each other?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it's through Joel and Catherine.
That is fact. Factual, actual, right? Because there's in our neighborhood this wonderful, it's okay to give shout outs to local small businesses, correct?
Uptown Garrison.
The Uptown Garrison is an excellent, it's a floor wax and a dessert topping, kind of, it's a coffee shop and a brick oven pizza place. Right? Totally. And Catherine was working there in a managerial role, I believe, for some time. And I would go there obsessively to get my coffee. Because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we like followed on the art zone, right? Because she was like, oh yeah, I know Killy Mockstar. And I was like, right? And then
and then
she disappeared because she went to somewhere not Washington Heights.
Oh, Long Island City, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
One of those places.
and then I think pandemic hit. And we were like, yo, Gluey Zoomy Show, and then yo, Catherine plus Nick.
Catherine plus Nick started to happen.
Come on board.
Then y'all came to our show and we were like, oh, and then we were like, wait, check out their music. And then we were like, rah! And then we were, then I think we were like, you need to be on our show. And then you said,
yes,
absolutely. You know, what's funny is when I remember Catherine talking about you all the time when she was still living up there and kept saying, we have to go see this band. We have to go see Hot Glue in the Gun. Oh, such a cool name. You know, no idea what any of it meant, you know, and we never got out to see you live, unfortunately. We will when that comes back.
Right.
Yeah. But and so when it all came together last year with the pandemic and the online shows, it was kind of thrilling to be like, oh, that's them. Oh my God. That was cool. Yeah.
Cool.
So why don't you tell the audience at home your story? Yes.
Oh, right. So Hot Glue in the Gun.
Once upon a time,
in a little egg, there was a glue gun.
Yeah.
And it pecked its way out.
It was like,
and here it is.
and this is actually the glue gun that pecked its way. It's one of them. And it got hot.
It did.
And then it got
glued stuff.
Melty. And it's amazing that we have the opportunity to be here, which is all about connections and connectivity and the tension that is between things when they're pulling together and pulled apart. And that's very much what we explore because we're really trained in the art of bartending.
Right.
As well as
service. And what do you need? And what do you need?
And theater.
Maybe the things that you all need kind of go together somehow.
I wasn't done. I love how you read me. So So like bartending, right, and service industry in restaurants, and then theater, and then rock and roll and jazz and classical and folk and protest music and also music for grandma, and like telling stories and being told stories. How do we put all that together?
I know. It's like this cacophony of...
Yeah, so we were chime in at any time. We were at
Where were we?
Shaking Medicine. We were at this weekend, series of weekends.
We went to a workshop that was ecstatic dance and the healing power of that.
And this is 6 years into our relationship, right?
Yes.
And maybe a year into our marriage. We're getting to the
point where we're like, marriage is happening, and we hadn't
to that point, no music
played yet together.
Right.
We didn't write music yet. Like we
figured out how to
years of relationship without that. Right. We're like, okay, where do the pots and pans go and stuff?
But not the guitars.
Right.
Priorities.
Right.
So
and then
the facilitator of that workshop
made us sing
he said,
play.
And then he said, you're gonna do a show for everybody in the next weekend. Go write something.
Go write stuff. And we were like,
we had gotten to the point of like singing one song together, and then we had to write something.
Yeah.
And so we pulled all our theater weirdness in, and we created a story about two construction workers who go digging in the ground and find
glue
guns and instructions to invite all of the people to bring their, can we say shit is on YouTube?
Totally.
Yeah. Cool. To bring their shit and glue it to the canvas together while we sing the songs and tell the story.
Oh, holy shit. That I did not know that. Man, what a story.
That
is such a cool, that is an origin story worthy of a comic book.
Thanks. One of the things that we would love to do with no time we have.
And so you performed live, and then what?
We did. And then we were like, well,
took some of them.
We put, EP happened.
Yes.
And open mics in New York happened so that we could meet the New York crew and find relationships and then
we started moving around and telling stories and singing songs, and then like
the punks embraced us. We were playing a lot of places in New York City that had like a punk scene or a rock scene. They dug our kind of like in the face they dug the theater, I think.
Yeah.
They dug the
and we spit spitballs at you through straws and things.
I don't know if we can bring that act back.
Post-pandemic, what are we gonna do?
How are we gonna do spitballs?
Like right.
Yeah.
No projectiles. Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah, no more projectiles.
That makes sense. The punks would embrace you though, because of that. There's a certain kind of like I'll say DIY kind of feel to what you do, where you're embracing the present moment while you're on stage, and clearly you're you prepare, but you leave an element of just what's going to happen there.
Yes.
There was once or twice last year at Gluey Zoomy where I looked at the script right for the thing and I was like, no. And Carrie's like, what? And I'm like, it's just way too planned. It's just there's too. I know what all's going to happen. We're going to have to move this around. And that became the time travel episode where we had the audience vote on what happens next.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. That is so awesome. I would like, because the people, there are maybe people who don't know your show, haven't seen your show. Can you tell them now, we're kind of up to that point, a little more about the Gluey Zoomy Show itself?
Sure.
Which before you say anything, I have to tell you this is I heard you guys were doing a show and I was like, this is awesome, because I heard so many good things about you already. And then we watched the show and like, oh my God, we have to keep watching this, and watch several episodes. I don't know why. I think, okay, there was a TV kids show in the 1970s, I think, called Zoom.
Called Zoom.
Yeah, and there was like the theme song, "We're gonna zoom, 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 zoom," you know, like, and all of that. So my and you have that kind of like, you know, you deal with all kinds of themes, but you have kind of a kid-like approach to the way that you present the show.
Gluey Zoomy Show.
Really, there you go, exactly. You know, which gives it that feel. So for several episodes, I'm like, oh, that's where they get the name from. It took me like 5 episodes to realize you were referring to Zoom. The app.
Right.
Yeah, that's how my, you know, so my brain.
That's
works.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So anyway, tell everyone.
Well, I'm glad you bring that bit of history up, though, because I actually didn't know about that show. We, of course, are Muppet heads. Like we grew up on Sesame Street, and the Muppet Show,
a little bit Muppet,
and Pee-wee's Playhouse was an influence, of course, and
I can see that.
taking it further back, this is not my time, but like Kukla, Fran, and Ollie,
Uncle Floyd,
yeah,
right?
so
and we didn't know this stuff, but people who connected to what we're doing have mentioned those names.
Yeah.
That there's something that takes them back to that, which the story that we told about where we're from, right? That ecstatic dance and shaking medicine is all about getting, and we do this in improv too, like brain bad, belly good, right?
Yeah.
And like get out of your head, get out of the thing that you think you are, oh grown up, and play.
Yeah.
Play and open, and play. And so when we do that, I know it works.
Well, and we get feedback from adults that are like, "Oh, you guys should be doing children's stuff." And maybe that is somewhere in our bag along the journey, but we really feel a strong call to invite adults back into their play. So like play is so healing for all of us, and we really get caught into our, you know, robot way of life.
And
the
other key element, which is also about this canvas and different people bringing their stuff. That was pandemic happens, and it's not that like the best thing in the world is an open mic night or a showcase or something, but there's an element when different artists are in a room together. I think about actually, there's a series called Tapioca that E. Nivius did at Sidewalk back in the day. That was very much that, like very curated, bringing together who's going to pull who with what. And so what we thought of was 3 shall be the number of thine counting, right? For Gluey Zoomy, we would take a performing artist, a healing artist, and a visual or sculpty, like, you know, paint draw artist, and then try to have them interact with each other, and then hopefully in their interaction with each other and us, the members of the audience, like yourself at first, would feel like you were in the room with us rather than watching the screen. That was our vision and our purpose for the Gluey Zoomy Show.
Yeah.
And
the pandemic really gave us the gift of Zoom and that culture that bloomed a year ago, because when we were originally feeling out wanting to glue together people, we were thinking about the cost of renting a theater and the space. What kind of space do we put this in? And then, you know, all the production that has to go behind that. And then suddenly everyone's got to be inside. Everyone's on the Zoom. And we took advantage of that and created Gluey Zoomy Show direct to your living room.
Which, shameless plug, you can find on the YouTubes.
Yes.
Right? Just
damn right.
Gluey and Gun YouTube channel.
That's right. Every link that you guys shared, I'm going to share with this video.
Amazing.
So people go check them out. In fact, quick aside, you have this other YouTube site that's just about your music, I think, that's older, that I stumbled on when I was looking for Hot Glue and the Gun. and it has some of the stuff from your EP.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, wow, that's cool. Yeah. That's just like this other different little thing, you know. I'm not gonna, you know, that's just me. Like I was doing a little exploring, and I noticed that, and I was like, I really like how this was recorded. Like, it's good stuff.
Oh,
so
wow, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
I gotta tell you, you achieved everything that you intended to with your Gluey Zoomy show, and I can understand how the pandemic and being at home would facilitate that, but we have, and I have, Catherine, all of us have seen so many shows online throughout this year and done so many and all of that. And it's varying degrees of somebody just sitting on the couch, which has been us certainly, or full production and all of that stuff in between. And that part of it doesn't matter. Like, you can have the lowest production, whatever, the energy and what you're bringing to it and what you're doing is what makes the difference. Your ability, your show's ability, I will attest to that you guys do make it feel like you're right there with everyone. You don't just say there's a chat or, you know, send us a message if you want to. You're actively encouraging participation every step of the way. And I think having that really the two things, that diversity of presentation, like you said, with the visual artist and the healing artist and all that, coupled with your chemistry, just pulls everybody in.
Cool. Thank you, Nick.
Look at that. Coming from a member of Catherine plus Nick.
Yeah.
We take that as a sincere compliment, because one of our great things was to just watch the little things you would put out there. Hitting Facebook Live and IG Live at the same time was dope. And
cool.
yeah.
And being
real.
Partners in life and in music is really it's a special thing.
I wanted to ask you about that because we've been partners for almost 4 years now, and in life and then in music and in business and all of that. You guys have been partners for longer, and it's similar in that both personally and professionally, you are really, connecting in so many ways. And any performer who performs with either a friend or a partner knows that chemistry you have in personal life doesn't always translate to the performance. We've heard these stories where, these two movie stars were in love and dating while they shot this film, and you can't feel it on camera, or the complete opposite of that, and so you guys seem to be able to, and you even used the word balance in what you sent me, balance your work life and your personal life, and doing all of these things, like spending, like I said, more time together than maybe a lot of couples do. And I mean, just looking at you on camera right now, it's like your energy and your feel is just always, it's just pulsing. It's always pulsing with goodness.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm really glad to hear you say that comes through, that you see it.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Because I feel like we've done a lot of work in our life to just dig deep roots together. And
it's really challenging.
Yeah.
But no more challenging than any kind of digging in the dirt, to quote one of my favorites.
Little Peter Gabriel.
Little Peter there.
Gabriel, yeah.
Peter Gabriel.
Digging in the dirt.
Digging in the dirt.
Yes.
Got hurt.
Yeah. Which we do together. And then it's harder in certain sense because, like last night we had, we're doing this 16-week course workshop called WeBo, which is Workshop in Business Opportunity, and it's and so now we're dealing with like tough stuff,
like stuff that like the marketing and all these things that
who is your target market?
Yeah, we're just like, we're the creative people, and you're asking me to like,
what's your plan? You know, and they're really important, good questions.
It is.
And then we're sitting there, and you talk about that dynamic, but like we're going through the fire, and I'm aware that I'm not with her. Whatever I'm doing is not what she wants, and whatever she's doing is not what I want, and that multiplies that. So then like it's really hard for us when it's hard. And I don't know if you know about that, because it's like the level of intimacy multiplies, but
sure,
when we disagree,
we've gotten practiced at working our way through that, though, of like recognizing that there's a disagreement going on, and then okay, how do we navigate this? I feel like we're
in our early time together, I was more like, you know,
one of us would shut down for a day, and then that would be it.
I was afraid we wouldn't get through.
And now I feel like we can, you know, with a couple hours of navigation, we're like, oh wow, okay, cool. So now I understand what you're saying, and you understand what I'm saying, and it's yeah.
I'm gonna cry myself to sleep, and we'll hug eventually.
There's that understanding, and it's funny because now you're actually describing through Weibo and through what you just said, both like professional and personal ways to explore and like you said, deepen, but also strengthen not just the relationship or your intent or purpose, but the skills you have in navigating all of that. And we've done a different program through this woman, Marie Forleo, and they ask very similar questions. And one of the catch things is ICA, who is your ideal customer avatar? So, you know, like, so it's very similar kind of thing. But going through that, we do find, well, this is, and a shameless plug, what I'm talking about right now, these two lovely people are wearing shirts from the company that Catherine and I founded. Yay! Snark Shirts by Feek. That is the official dance, by the way, of the company.
That is today.
And so we've gone through that with this and found that, you know, my idea of who Feek is and what Feek represents was maybe a little different from what Catherine's is. And in order to kind of meld them together, you need to know, or in our course that we're taking, you need to know what that ideal customer avatar is, because if there's a focal point of who you are trying to communicate to, then that also reflects back on where you're coming from. And then that makes it easier to kind of pull our ideas together.
Yes.
Gluey.
Yeah.
Gluey.
You mentioned, and I love this because it's right behind you, that you want to stress the ampersand in your name.
Yes,
can you talk a little bit about why that is? I think it relates.
Inclusion. It's
so there's
no, you go.
So it's a little bit the infinity symbol.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
And it breaks. No, you go.
We're seeing it in action, people.
It's like a song, Joel. I do a bit.
No, I don't have to worry.
I don't. Okay, yeah. You do a bit. So, it's harmony, babe.
Fine. The little break here, over by, yes, this is an actual on Hello Romano. Is the we hold both infinity and brokenness all the time. We do. We just do. It's like, it's not either or. It's both and, right? So when people ask, who's the hot glue, who's the gun, we would like them to look at this thing and ask, who's the ampersand, and be the glue, right? Like,
yeah. Oh my God, I love that.
Cool.
Yeah. I think we're dealing a lot with that more, in this last year with all the stuff everyone's been through, and an agent that I've had in the city for voiceover acting and all for the last 18 years just died of COVID a couple days ago.
Oh,
like a couple days.
Yeah, it's been a year and things are still happening. People, it's still out there, and those kinds of things, and it doesn't need to take death, but just living in a present way, really do stress how much we're connected to infinity and what that means to us, and how we can make that a vibrant part of our lives, but that every day, in some way, or every week or every month, there's, brokenness is a part of that, because, what we have here, I guess, is not infinite, whether it's the experiences we have in life, people we know, or a job we have, or our bodies and the way they are right, this year or this decade, all of that, brokenness is just inevitably a part of life. But it doesn't need to be the depressing, you're somehow taking that and putting it together, which I've never thought of an ampersand that way. And that's always been my favorite way to write "and" on a piece of paper, is an ampersand.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Also, like how it's a little bit like a treble clef.
A little like G clef there for you.
It's a little bit like a G clef. Not gonna lie, it's a little bit like a G clef.
It totally is. My God.
Totally a little bit music
in
the
all these connections.
And how it's totally punk, because the internet doesn't know what it is.
That's true.
Ooh, what do you mean by that?
And that's been challenging.
I mean, like on a website,
us.
You can't do hot glue ampersand the gun.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. In a web address.
Right. No, because it has its own meaning to computers. You can use that. No, we're using it already.
That's been a challenge, though, because people often write the word "and" for us, which you have to do if you're typing our website, or you have to do if you're going to @hot glue and the gun on Instagram. But it's when it's in print. This is the way.
We got, thanks to the Gluey Zoomy Show and yourself and some other people, in December, we hit 100 followers on YouTube, excellent. Right? Which meant that a month later, which lets me know there are actually people at Google who look at this stuff, because otherwise it would have happened right away, right? There's you now have your own URL, which is in QXVL1743, right?
Right.
And our name is Hot Glue space ampersand space the gun, and we are now YouTube Hot Glue the gun.
Hot Glue.
Didn't know what to do with
the
that.
gun. I
know. Right.
Yeah, which is Hot Glue the gun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Totally punk. Totally punk.
Which is I'll call it a segue. But so I want to know more about, because as you know, part of this show is, the genre is bullshit, and, anything that separates one kind of music from another should be done away with. You guys have a way of creating music that is diverse in terms of each song has its own voice. But even within a song, there are so many different elements and influences and things like that. Talk more about your music.
Yes. Genre has been challenging for us because we really don't know where to fit ourselves in the molds that have been established. And I know that new genres keep
curiosity
cropping up all the time. What are some things that have come up? Theater punk.
We've had a lot of genres applied to
us. Mm-hmm.
But I'm in the ampersand is a little bit like, so there is the challenge of genre is that, like, if I don't have any definition in a painting, it's mud. It's just a brown wash of not, and that's not music.
Yeah.
But if everything is predictable and definable, then that's not art.
That's not it either.
Right?
Yeah.
So in that, like, that tension between that is where we are curious. And so one of the ways we do that is by just attempting to glue together two things and seeing what comes of it. And so what our approach is, I'll have a series of chords, or Carrie will have a series of words. Carrie will have a melody. I'll have an old piece of an old song from back in college. And we bring them both to the pot and we explore how they might converse.
Yes. How are these things talking to each other? I like the different bits of poetry that have come in, like an old poem of Joel's and maybe a relatively new poem of Carrie's, and then they kiss. And they make a song.
That's where the chemistry is, in the tension between the genres. So it's not that we're ignoring them. Like I'm playing a blues riff. I'm not playing, counterpoint. It's a blues riff, right? Like it's what it is, but it's not, but I'm not a blues musician and I can't hang with those cats. No. And nor would I deem to but I do like what that is. And I am interested in bringing different elements together and exploring.
Yes.
That
again, the play within it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our approach.
I love that.
And we're looking forward. This one was what we recorded in 2016.
Yep.
And if you notice that actual, you see the similarity between that and that.
Yeah.
What's glued there? That's because it is that.
Oh, no way.
Like that's literally
that's
literally like hand glued. That's from hot glue.
God, that's awesome.
Onto a right, and then
the floor in our apartment building.
That's the hallway in our apartment building.
We
made a record player.
This record player out of a box.
Out of a box.
No way! Wow.
That's all photography. That's not. I did turn that into a transparent, right? Like I took a picture of that, but that's. Where was I going with that? But you bring
this up because
this was 2016 is the last time we were in the studio.
Right.
There have been some bits in the studio in between, but nothing that really nailed in.
Got out of the egg shell. So we're really excited right now about, now that we've done the Gluey Zoomy Show, now that we've done so much live performing. I mean, when we recorded that, we were pretty much a year into performing together. And now this is 5 years later. So we're really excited about what's going to happen when we go back in the studio with some of these new tunes.
Yeah. And stuff came out this year.
Yeah. So that I think was pretty by the numbers. And we're grateful for it and the process. And Sidecar Studio, they helped us make it. And by they, I mean Paul Howells, who just is amazing.
Rockstar.
But we're really excited about what's next.
Where is Sidecar?
Sidecar's in Queens now. When we recorded Auto High Fidel Cadillac-O-Matic, he was in Midtown. But Midtown prices and
they're working at getting together with. Do you know Astoria Music Collective? They've been doing some stuff.
Yeah,
they're trying to join forces to create a label right now, and see what that could do. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, that's good to be involved in then. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that you're going back in the studio though, and it's not because listen, please keep doing your shows in every possible way that you can, but I have a real personal relationship with recorded music, even in some ways more so than live. Don't ask me why. That's just how I run, and there's something about
chances.
There's something about I think in a sense, I called it, because I did a podcast on this about why I prefer recorded music in many ways to live. And I think it has to do with that idea of a connection to infinity somehow. So going back to what you're saying, to where if you are present in the moment of while you're recording and you're capturing a moment, now that moment can live for as long as recorded music lives, and to be able to, and then again, the live experience, it's that fleeting presence of, well, this is how life is. At one moment it's here, one moment it's gone. So you have different elements of what life means. And I guess I gravitate more towards the one that's, well, you know, two of the Beatles are dead, but their music is exactly still living the way it lived 50 some years ago, you know, and I can't wait to hear what you guys put on wax, you know, because I really enjoyed the recorded music, but I can hear how different what you're doing now is. There's a through line, clearly, because it's you two and all that stuff. But to think of you creating music from these disparate elements of, well, you know, this old piece of, you know, poetry here and this lick here, and then you have lyrics and all of that. No two other people in the world could create the songs that you create.
Which is cool. Yeah. Which is cool. Like that's what we like about Catherine plus Nick is no other two people can make what you can make.
Can make the sounds that you're doing.
And
tell the story.
REC, like,
oh, thank you.
Nobody but you is making that, and I love that about when you take. I'm less interested in a genre and more interested in bands.
Right.
In voices.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah. And because, you know, you listen to, my favorite bands are always the bands who, like you said, if you name what you're doing, then not only does it, yes, there's a shorthand so that people can kind of understand and have an inroad to what you're creating. But I think it's up to us as both artists and listeners to not allow that to be the definition, or to not allow it to be a box. So as a listener, you come to a band and say, a month or two ago, I went through the entire catalog of the Bee Gees. And if you've ever listened to anything beyond, you know, Saturday Night Fever or their 60s hits, you would be blown away with their diversity, blown away. And I could say that about, you know, 40 other bands that I've listened to in the last 10 years, you know, and that's as a listener. And as an artist, it's like, well, don't be afraid to say, this is the, you know, like I define rec as electro power pop. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do 7 other things on a recording or live if that's what I feel like doing. So as an artist, I think we have, I hope that every artist feels like if something doesn't sound like it fits your genre, so what? And that's the vibe I get from everything you guys do. I mean, that's one of the fun things about your shows is that I don't know how to define the music. And at a certain point, you stop asking that question.
Don't care. Yeah.
That's the best part. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and even your show, you know, I totally get how people are connecting it to other children's shows, and it's cool. They've mentioned some of those shows I've heard of and seen, some I haven't, but it all makes sense because there is that kind of kid show element to it. And when I describe it to people and say, you have to watch this show, I always say it has the energy of a kid show for grownups. But that doesn't really completely define it either. You know, like again, that's a shorthand, but I would rather, and this is partly why I do these interviews, I'd rather people hear, you know, 20, 40, 60 minutes on what it is you do in detail than just accept, you know, a 4-word, you know, definition of what it is you do.
Well, and that accepting that puts us back into our brain, and we don't want to be living there. We really want to move into this more rooted place. So, you know, naming things. Humans, we love to name things, don't we? Just put them in their categories and boxes and spreadsheets and pie charts.
I like spreadsheets.
It's like,
you're right though. Yeah. It's a way to feel safe and comfortable and like things are in order and you have some control, you know, and none of it's bad. All of it's totally fine. It just shouldn't be the answer. It just should be part of the puzzle, you know?
So where did you get the name Rec?
So when I put the band together, God, over 15 years ago, I had just been going under the name Nick for many years, which a critic called me out on once. They were like, what does this guy think he's Prince? You know, he can go by one name. And I was like, shit, I think he figured me out. You know, it's so I was like,
I need for that, and now
yeah, I need to bring more people in, and you know, expand what it means to do the music I do. And the guys and women that were in the band at the time all came up with names. We made a list of like 30, and then voted, and that was the one that won. And it happened to be one that I had come up with, and what it stands for is recording, because it's one of my favorite things to do, recreation, because it should be fun, and it's the middle of the word wreck, because I want to wreck things. I want to wreck your expectations, you know. I want to wreck the joint, you know, like that kind of
yeah. There it is. Right. Cool. I dig it.
I love that. We had a writing session, and you know, funny enough, Hot Glue in the Gun was not on that writing session, but we had a big sketch pad, and we just wrote a bunch of names. I wrote names, Joel wrote names, and I don't know, some silly things were on it.
Free for use of public.
Backyard bunnies.
Death minstrel.
Yeah.
Death minstrel. Death minstrel. With the like the Metallica type, you know, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Backyard bunnies. I liked backyard bunnies.
Yeah. Right.
Isn't it great to go back and say, well, this could have been this, but you know, it reinforces that you made the right decision. You know. And I was going to say that I love any band that has a logo, and not all bands do, you know, and not that it has to be the same logo. I talked about this.
Can change.
I interviewed, but there's a guy I interviewed who goes under the name Omega, and he takes the Omega symbol and you know, graphically does it different for every recording. Mm-hmm. And he's, for some reason, done 103 albums. So that's awesome. And you can only imagine. Yeah. And,
yes.
You're right. And I think I try to do
Bowie is like jealous of this dude. That's
right?
Like, I can't, my mind.
Yeah, I know. He told me he doesn't think that he for him, as we often all feel when we create, the songs are our babies. And for him, he feels like this baby isn't birthed until it's recorded. And that's not you know. Yeah. But he likened his Omega to one of his favorite bands, Chicago. And I was like, totally get that.
They have a logo.
Their logo was different for every release they put out. And I'm curious to know, now that you are stressing this ampersand, what plans do you have for it?
Yeah, that's a good question,
I mean,
right?
Are we allowed to talk about that? Did you talk to the attorney?
No, I did not talk to the attorney about it, Joel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not sign an NDA, so.
Right.
Okay. So definitely one of us has voted to develop an app that's just that symbol, and you get us. And you can like contribute to the thing. That is definitely in early talks.
Ooh,
in early talks. But look at the excitement.
I don't know that that's an early. I mean, I guess
actually,
it's still an early talks.
Yeah, well, because we haven't. Yeah, but
it's been simmering.
That's simmering. Yeah. That's simmering. Yeah. Right? Like, boom. Right, and then you're in Hot Glue in the Gun, right? Be the glue, and then you throw in a lyric, and it becomes a thing, and.
Oh my God. Wow.
That'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
You know,
so yeah.
We haven't made our way out to Burning Man, but I feel like that would, you know, building the ampersand and then being able to play within it. Maybe there's a slide involved. I don't know.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And we could just journey around it. It's like our little labyrinth. Mm-hmm. And you could have a maze of it sideways, and you can go through and do things in the. Yeah, that'd be cool. yeah. That's amazing.
That's
such
a
corny joke. And one move that we have made, and this is funny because we used to be like capital Hot, capital Glue, capital The. Right.
Yeah.
And now we got no capitals, which is funny because that's where we started. But
True, but people had a problem with the capital "the," and we kept being like, "It's all."
It was hot glue, and then the gun.
And we're like, no, we're not trying to stress the gun, guys.
To be fair, oh no, it's up here on the OBS logo. I can't do the thing.
Yes, everyone.
There. Okay. There. There.
Yeah.
That's all capitals, so it's weird. I get why they get it. It's our fault. In any case, the move has been just to take all of the capital letters, and I've noticed that the ampersand has come more to focal point in that move. Mm-hmm. Just that move of taking away the capital letters, which was more about honoring things like Black Lives Matter. I mean, it seems like a silly, somewhat unrelated way, but
well, no, you even kind of described that in what you wrote to me, that it has so much to do with inclusion, and I think that does connect to Black Lives Matter. This sense of, like you said, connectivity.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's
we're all sharing this place, and how are we relearning? There's a lot of relearning involved.
Yeah. I mean, it's like maybe, and that was the message that my partner wisely shared with me is, sometimes it's better not to jump into the pot with the answer that you think you know to the question.
Yeah.
And
listening. Yeah.
I struggle with that. I want to fill that empty space. And
all the time.
Dead air is so scary, isn't it?
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of the silence, of the finality, of
I can't stand silence. Especially when it comes to something serious. There's a need to want to fill that space. Sometimes just for the sense of discomfort and having your voice as a presence, and sometimes because you want to direct things, or you want to insert yourself in a way that says, I'm here and I believe this and I do this, and all those things are fine. I get all that, but there's a time to just stop and listen. And that's cool that you brought that up. I'd love to do that now, but that would end up, creating a lot of dead air, because I think we both end up listening, and no one would end up speaking. So well, we could try.
We may never know.
We won't. One of us is going to fill that silence.
That's what it is.
Yeah, right? Can't help
it. The intelligent person here in this odd trio is like,
oh God, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, you need that. And that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because Catherine pointed out, we were on our way back here to set up for this, that a lot of what you do is connected to fundraising and charities and donating your services and things like that, and really, trying to go beyond the music in how you impact the world. And I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah. Well, we both come from a culture of tithing. So we're not members of a specific religious organization.
You're good at words. You're real good at words.
We both feel that humans, in being human, there is a piece of giving of time, giving of resources, sharing of.
There's so much about life that is not about being heard, but about showing up. So having a mission is more about showing up than anything else. Being the gift and that's our slogan, be the glue, right? and so we challenge ourselves to ask ourselves, okay, in what way am I being the glue right now? Yeah. Right? In what way am I? We live up here by Fort Tryon Park. And there's the Heather Garden there that is well maintained by the Central Park Conservancy. And there's a little plaque there that says, "Let it not be said, and said to your shame, that all was beauty here till you came." I think that being an American, being part of whatever that experiment has meant, and I think it's complex. I think it's a poor move to make it all great. It's also a poor move to make it all shitty. There's both growing up. Not to pull any particular religious tradition out, but I am deeply compelled by the story told by Yeshua, who is sometimes called Jesus, from where he said that there was this farm and they planted all this beautiful crop. And in the night, people came and they planted these tares into the crop. And the next morning, the farm workers came to the farmer and said, "Look, there's all this tares up with the wheat. Should we go pull it out?" And the wise farmer says, "No, let them grow up together. And in the time of the harvest, we'll separate them. Because if we do it now, we risk damaging the crop by pulling out." And that story just compels us to be involved, but to resist the urge. And I feel right now that I'm failing it. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like right now I am more preachy than I ever want to be.
Yeah.
Like
in this moment, or in your
right now? Like right now, I'm talking about it rather than participating in it.
Yes.
And that's challenging for me.
Yeah.
But that's my ego. That's bullshit. Yeah, whatever.
Well, look, it's part of that, and it's you don't always know when to talk and when to shut up, except by experience. And the more the more you talk, I'm constantly monitoring myself. Even right now, I'm like, I'm talking too much. This is not my interview. And yet, if I feel like there's something like a nugget of anything that I want to share that might provoke something in someone else, then maybe it's worth giving it a shot. And I like this. I mean, I grew up, my family is Catholic, so I have kind of that background, and I haven't really connected with it much, but I remember some of the stories, and I don't remember that story, so I'm kind of fascinated.
It is sometimes unfortunate, the stories that do get told from the ancient texts and the stories that get skipped.
Yeah.
They're worth a revisit, whatever, and you're going to have to do some shadow boxing, and you're going to do it in your own backyard. You're not really going to be like, even if you grew up Catholic and then you go become Buddhist, it might take a minute, but then you're going to have a new backyard, and then you're going to have to deal with the shadow boxing of being a Buddhist. You're going to have to deal with the shadow boxing of being an atheist. Like, there's no place.
There's no way to get out of that shadow boxing.
There's no place to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's no place to hide. So you might as well get in. Might as well get in.
Dive in, folks.
That's it, right? Well, we're diving in for sure. I mean, to me, it's almost like a workout program. Like any program that is created organically with the idea of the health of the body in mind is valid. And it doesn't matter if someone chooses to do this program instead of another. The religion's always felt like that to me. Like, at their core, all religions created organically are really working towards doing the same thing, same set of things. And you choose, the discipline or lack of discipline that works best for you. But either way, like you said, whether you're a Catholic or an atheist or any other religion or non-religion, you've got to do that shadow boxing. Doesn't matter what the discipline is.
It was deeply and well explained in one of the greatest films of all time. called Adventures in Babysitting.
Yes.
Nobody gets out of here
without singing the blues.
Oh my God.
That's it.
That's
He's like, oh, that was really painful.
Yes.
I don't get to do this much with I haven't done it at all, with these interviews because, haven't done many for various reasons. I like to keep these around an hour. And because you guys are seasoned professionals, you have made this extremely easy and have already packed this interview full of amazing stuff.
Woo! Yay!
Before we've hit an hour, so I'm going to ask you another actual music question.
Wow.
What are you guys listening to right now?
Oh, cool.
What
are we listening to? I'm going to pull
honestly,
out.
what has really been on our radio? I don't know what so
we don't have to call out any names.
WWOZ.
Yeah, WWOZ.
Out of New Orleans. Is
free.
Yes.
Public.
Yes.
Not NPR. No offense. Love NPR.
Yep.
Not NPR. Listener supported
radio. And
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. WWOZ.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
A lot of jazz, but also lots of other stuff too.
But speaking of the world music, women and men behind the curtain, the DJs are amazing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They're they all have their slot, just WWOZ. And so, sorry, you were talking. I took the whole verse.
You're okay. It's okay. It's exciting. We're both
no, WWOZ.
WWOZ.
Scholars will be studying this interview 20 years from now.
Absolutely.
I don't know that our music will ever be on WWOZ, but this is where we go to get up in the morning, to wash dishes, to cook dinner, it's just in our house. It goes on and it's in the speakers and there's
a particular this is too completely riff off the subject.
Sure.
There's a particular app that I listen to music on, and I'm not going to call them out because they have plenty of everybody's money.
Sure.
But what I do as I'm exploring is I just make a new playlist of that record. And so there's just the current thing. So I'm just going to scroll down and list off some of the people that are on my current we share an account. We share everything.
We do too.
So there's Daft Punk.
Salt Wildfires has come to us a lot.
Aaron Neville's later shit.
Yeah, actually.
Fragile World, check out that, right? Rat-a-tat, Kid Cudi, Rude Mechanicals, Yola Tango, Morphine, a little Natalie Merchant, Fleetwood Mac,
that's sad.
The Robert Brashear, who's a local friend of ours, Darian Deshawn, who was on Gluey Zoomy and has released some recent stuff. Michael Franti
got some stuff coming out. Michael Franti is
and Spearhead has really helped us through the summer.
Yes. Again, getting into
Janelle
roots,
Monáe.
getting into
yeah.
Oh, and of course, the Icebergs.
The Icebergs. Jane
also,
LaCroix.
New York locals.
Local.
Yes. The Icebergs just came out with an album this year that's fantastic. Fallen Creature on that album is one of my favorite tunes.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
Yeah, so we genuinely deeply love all of these things, and it's torment to you know exactly how I feel, right? You love all the musics, and there is simply not time.
No, there's not time.
There's
so
not
much
time, but and there's never going to be enough time to listen to all the music you want to explore. But to create a playlist that's so eclectic like that and coupling it with WWOZ, that's the sweet spot for me too. Look, programming music to where you want it to have a certain feel, whether for whatever reason that is, totally cool, absolutely. But if I'm going to create a playlist that's just for pleasure, it's going to be like yours. So that's
going to be like a little, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check out W. Have you ever been to New Orleans?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And we were there last year. Oh, we were there right Mardi before Gras. Pandemic.
The probability
closed.
Of us not contracting COVID in that window is really low. Is really low.
We've been there a couple of times before that, but last year I celebrated a birthday and we had time away from, you know, we took more than 10 days, dude.
Well,
we were there
but we took 10 that we were just like
we were there for a solid 2 weeks, which is a very long time to be away and to be, you know, to be able to just like unhook life for a second and dive
like
into
several parades, you know, like, and you know, and they're not like, and the music,
and the food and the
people and
we went over to the Bywater part of town, and there's this beautiful outdoor sculpture garden that is that you can play on, like there's like music pieces that are part of this. Artists have created musical instruments out of trash and wood, and they're like huge. It's like you can climb on this. You can
play on this
playground and stuff, and that's
then there's a guitar amp, and there's like everything, and it's awful, and it's out of tune, and it's
brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the and the edge of the locals and their anger and the deep wounds of America are right there in New Orleans. Like, you go there, you can go there and kind of have a touristy experience, but you really have to stick to this one street, and you gotta really work hard to do so.
Yeah.
But the town will get you and pull you in, and
it's top 3 in my favorite cities in the country. And you know, I feel like people who haven't been there maybe don't know how much it is kind of the, you know, one of the main crossroads of America. There's just so much has happened there historically, and even in the last, you know, 15 years, that you can feel while you're there, right? If you step anywhere outside of Bourbon Street area, you're going to feel it. And you can hear how that has informed the music there for 100, you know, years and more. Why it's so incredible, you know.
Was it Tennessee Williams that said there are only 3 legitimate cities in the United States? New York, New Orleans, San Francisco, and everywhere else is Cleveland.
Wow, I have not heard that quote. I'd have to add Philly to that just because I'm a Philly boy, but otherwise...
You're a Philly boy? You're a Philly boy? I knew I liked you.
You too, huh?
You drink water?
Water.
Yeah, you drink water, right?
Yeah.
I would like mine white American wit. No offense to the Wiz. No offense to the Wiz.
Gritty.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So gritty, kid.
I'm from AC and like Vineland.
Oh, holy crap!
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in that area.
Yeah. Of course you did.
Oh, God,
yeah. Wildwood, Cape May. The whole thing.
Cape May. Yeah, one of my favorite places. We could go down that rabbit hole, which we might.
We won't.
Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, spitball in your face.
Right?
Yeah, totally. Would love to leave you with that.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's right. 3D. That's
Be the glue. Be the glue.
Be the glue.
Show up.
Art is not a spectator sport.
Love is not a spectator sport.
Yeah. Get in, get involved. And now we've all been sitting in our cocoons for a minute, and I feel this time of emergence is going to happen, and and maybe a renaissance with it. But I think we're all just ready to get
the next place you're going to see Hot Glue in the Gun is very likely going to be like busking at a park near you, where we're going to be out, and maybe there'll be an opportunity to collaborate on something and get involved, and that's going to be that's our short-term plan. That, and let's get some recordings of this music and some new videos of some music videos, and then as far as those of you who are fans of the Gluey Zoomy Show, it's deep in our hearts as well. We will have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, see where the road takes us
when she comes back.
Well, we'll be very eager to see that. Those are, with or without that, those plans are already incredible, and your parting words have given me tingles. So thank you for the whole hour.
And
you
thank
too.
you.
Your
Nick
facilitation.
You're a rock star. We love Catherine plus Nick. We love what you guys do together. We keep doing it.
Yeah, but like you made us feel comfortable and uncomfortable at the same time in that squishy way we love. Super gluey. Super gluey.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. I am so excited to be sharing this
with
everybody. And yes, exactly. And the editing is going to be trim the beginning, trim the end, and leave the rest in there. No fat. Thank you again for joining me here. Music is not a genre, the interview edition. And thank you, all of you, for watching and listening and sharing and clicking and subscribing and being.
Click the bell. Click the bell.
Click the bell. Click the bell. And all of that. And especially for watching this interview, one of my favorites. And I will see you next time.